all the things that we believe are a result of Vatican II are not. This whole thing about ripping churches apart and changing the churches, none of it is really even accepted by the church. It's not. It's actually, and we're writing about it in our newsletter and in our new book, it's a Lutheran architect who wrote a book about how he felt houses of worship, not even houses of worship, but how religious houses should be. And for some reason, somebody in the Catholic Church picked up on it and started to use it.
And that's what we've got today.
But it's not
Meeting
approved by
halls.
anybody.
You know that all-purpose hall? That was his idea. That taking away of the focus. When you enter into a church, first of all, it should not be called a church. It should be called a community. And there are some parts in the country where they no longer call it a Catholic church, and I say good because it's not. The focus should not be on the Eucharist, should not be on the tabernacle. That's completely against all church teachings. The focus is on the tabernacle,
Eucharist.
And that's where it should be. So everything, he said...
Oh, boy.
The placing of the tabernacle out of the church.
Did we hit a sore spot here?
The placing of the tabernacle out of the church.
All right, read this article and we're just finishing it up now for the next newsletter, which will be coming out. So make sure
you're all on the list.
It's going to be coming out within about 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, so make sure you're all going to get that newspaper.
One of the major articles is on all this that is going on to rip out the churches and redo them in the form of gymnasiums and community centers. Has no approval from any official organ of the church. Just doesn't have it. And these guys that are coming along and saying it's part of Vatican II has nothing to do with Vatican II.
And furthermore, you need to know canon law, and we do quote canon law there. Do you know that 2 of the best-selling books in the Catholic bookshops are canon law and the sacramentary, being bought by the laity? And you do have to know. And in canon law, it does not give them permission. For a matter of fact, the only way that that could happen in the church's father was that it had to be passed by an ecumenical council or permission from His Holiness the Pope, none of which they have ever received. So this has been individuals who have brought this about. You've got to know. You've got to know. Yes?
If such changes are being contemplated by a church, what could the parishioners do?
Okay, we don't, see, sometimes the bishops allow it. Sometimes the bishops institute it. The only thing that I think you can do is go to Rome.
First of all, this is what you do. You follow the Bible. You get your canon. See, again, don't go up to anybody and say, that's wrong, you're not allowed to do that. No, you get the canon.
Because then they'll say to you, where is your
and
degree on theology?
Where's your degree?
If you can get and you may want to get a canon lawyer to help you. If you can get your canons where this is not approved and present it to the proper people, to the priest, to the bishop, whatever.
First to your priest. The priest says, well, that's tough. Then you go to the bishop. The bishop says, well, that's also tough. Then you go to Cardinal Ratzinger. And Cardinal Ratzinger will get it to the right people. Cardinal Ratzinger, that's his job. So we do have a voice. I'm not saying rebel. I'm saying there is a voice, if you take Jesus out of the church, this architect also take the cross out of the church. He said you wouldn't have, we heard this one, you wouldn't have an
electric
chair there and worship. And no, because an electric chair didn't save me. A cross saved me. I was saved by the cross, not by an electric chair. So they think we're all a bunch of nincompoops and that we buy into their stupid logic. We're not stupid. Of course I wouldn't worship something that a murderer is being punished. No. And so that, again, is part. He was the first one.
Okay, the first thing I would recommend is buying as a group, maybe because it costs about $50 or $60, buying a code of canon law, and then looking through it and trying to find for yourself what the canons are.
Yes, Father.
That's Father Dennis.
There's a great book published by Ignatius Press called Liturgical Question Box. It only costs about $15 or so. It answers all those questions. And then there's a book put out by Catholic Answers people called Mass Appeal that answers all the
Catholic Answers in San Diego?
Yeah, right.
St. Carl Keating?
The mass confusion.
Mass Confusion.
Yeah. All right, and okay.
Canon law is on the internet.
And you can go right in canon law. It's very simple to check, very, very easy to check. You need to know.
Now, just recently, we heard about a church, a cathedral in Canada that was being readied to gut.
Oh, magnificent.
And there's a guy in Albany, he's a priest who is a professional church gutter. And he was hired to do the job, and he was going to be paid $60,000 to do it. And he was paid the $60,000, but they put enough pressure on the church, the parishioners, that he never got to do it. He didn't get to do it. So, but okay.
Okay. What,
What?
honey? Oh, my dear.
Yes.
What a nice word you
Certainly
just said.
is. It certainly, but again, there you
when-
got a real problem because the Cardinal Archbishop is the architect of that.
Yeah.
So you got to go beyond the Cardinal Archbishop.
That's okay. Let me tell you something. That if you read Tragedy of the Reformation, you'll find in there how that even came about.
You'll see the blueprint of that church.
The blueprint of that, and
in this
that's
book,
we just
Tragedy
happen
of
to
the
have written that.
Reformation. We actually, not because we didn't know anything about the new cathedral in Los Angeles, but we wrote about when Henry VIII broke from the church. He would not break with any of the traditions of the church. He insisted that all the sacraments stay as they were. Everything stays as it was, with the exception of loyalty to the Pope or loyalty to Henry
But he
VIII.
set himself up as the head of the church.
But when he died, his archbishop, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Archbishop Cranmer, changed everything in the church, including the physical structure of the churches, where the altar was brought out into the middle of the church, which is what the cathedral in Los Angeles is supposed to do, and then people would not be facing or looking at Jesus or focusing on the altar. They would be focusing on each other. Because I'm looking across from you, I'm focusing on you rather than on what's going on up on the altar.
And as
Many
Mother,
things
as
that
Mother
they did.
Angelica said, frankly, you're not awesome. Jesus is awesome.
She has said to me, she said, you know, Bob, if I look at you, I say, gee, Bob's hair is really getting white. he's losing a little bit of it. And he's starting to get a little paunchy there in the face. Bob, you're not awesome. But if I look at Jesus in the Eucharist, that's awesome. And it's true.
And Jesus is what, sweetheart?
I'm just confused about the discussion. Are you talking about the Eucharist and the tabernacle being in another room
It's
adjacent to the church or not being behind?
the tabernacle, that no one got permission to take the tabernacle out of the center of the church.
No,
right
that,
there.
no, that has... No.
Yeah, but no one took out permission.
Code of Canon Law states that the tabernacle should be separate from, it should not be on the main
Well, you
altar.
got to read this.
It's on the Code of
All
Canon
right.
Law.
That's the new one. But one thing they
1983.
cannot do is take it out of the church. They had no permission to do that. And that's what is happening right now.
See, a lot of them are,
Yeah.
we don't know, it's not built yet. The thing, it's not done yet, so we don't know what's going to be with it, but probably not. We've been to churches
It's
where
also-
the tabernacle has been in a broom closet, has been in an upstairs bedroom.
Do you know what I want you to
Lot of
do?
changes.
When that article comes out, listen up. When that article comes out, read it. And then read what's going to happen with the mall,
And the
with
food
a
court.
building for all religions. That's what he's going to call it. Now, a Catholic church is not a building for all religions.
And it's not a food court.
It's not a meeting hall where all people, including homosexuals, can come and have their meetings. No, a Catholic church is a place where we worship God. That's what a Catholic church is. You worship God. And so anyone who builds something that is not with the purpose of worshiping God, he's
That's what it's
against
for.
he's against church law.
Otherwise, you want to
Take
build...
out the divine.
You want to build a community center, that's fine. Build a community center. There's nothing that says you can't, but don't call it a church and don't say this is where the people have to gather. We have houses of worship, and our dear St. Francis of Assisi says the most beautiful building in the town should be for our Lord Jesus, to glorify God. And that's why we have churches. Otherwise, we have community centers to have meetings or barbecues or whatever you want to do. You don't have to have a church for that. Now, I do want to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Could we
Yes, sir.
forego the break? We're supposed to have a break at 3 o'clock,
Where you could all buy books.
where you can all buy books. And do the video on Faustina.
Yeah.
And then we will pick up on the last talk after Faustina, then we'll do Divine Mercy, and then we'll do the last talk.
Would you like that?
Is that a deal? Can we do that? Can we have a video, bro, please? Is that okay, George? How's that sound?